Hello viewers, welcome to All Force e-learning program. I am DNR. This is physics session number 8. Now in this session we are going to talk about the addition of vectors. So we have started with the chapter vectors, right? So we shall today study about the addition of vectors, the various methods and how vectors are added. Well, before going to this one, let's have a review of what we have learned till date. So I was telling you, physics, subject of measurement, you measure, you get a quantity, physical quantity. Any physical aspect around us which can be defined and which can be measured is termed as physical quantity. And you know the physical quantities are basically classified into two, scalars and vectors. Scalars have got only magnitude, no significant direction. Vectors, both magnitude and direction. Not only direction, they obey the laws of vector addition also, right? So vectors, they are represented by a line segment, is it? There is mathematical way, is it? So vector, I have given you different types of vectors, like vectors, unlike vectors, parallel, anti-parallel, co-initial, co-terminal, coplanar, right? So equal vector, opposite vector, unit vectors, null vectors, we have termed about all those types of vectors. And now later we have even talked about what happens when a scalar is multiplied to a vector. Now let us now talk about addition of vectors. Our topic now is addition of vectors. You know how vectors are added, combination of vectors. So when you talk about the combination of things, suppose if you talk about combination of scalars, scalar can be added to another scalar and can be subtracted to another scalar. Well, again, suppose if you are talking about scalar quantities, then this scalar of a particular unit can be added and subtracted to the same scalar of the same unit. Right? So a scalar of a particular unit can be added or subtracted to another scalar of same unit. Both must belong to the same physical quantity. They must have same units. Addition and subtraction of scalars. Suppose if they are mere numbers, you can just simply add n1 and n2, subtract. It doesn't matter. But if you are talking about physical quantities, then you cannot add any scalar to any scalar. It is not like any scalar to any scalar. Like mass of 10 kg cannot be added to 10 joules, work of 10 joules. This is not possible. So if you want to add scalars also, then you can add only scalars pertaining to the same physical quantity. That is, they must be similar scalar quantities belonging to the same physical quantity. Well, similarly, subtraction also between the same physical quantity. You can subtract velocity from velocity, work from energy from energy, but you cannot subtract velocity and energy like that. Similarly, but multiplication and division, you can multiply and divide any two scalars, irrespective of their units, whatever be the thing, you can multiply and divide. These are valid. This is valid for any scalars, but this is only for similar scalar quantities. Similar scalars only you can perform this, but for any scalars you can perform this too. Now coming to vectors. Now yesterday we have taken multiplication of a scalar into vector. Well, you can multiply scalar into vector. This gives another vector. It's possible. Similarly, you can divide a vector by a scalar. This is also possible. You will get another vector, some a bar like this. This is possible. For example, like velocity is equal to displacement by time. You are dividing displacement vector by time scalar, then you get another vector quantity. This is possible. So you can divide a vector by a scalar, you can multiply vector to a scalar. Scalar and vector multiplication is possible. But when you come to addition, you cannot add a scalar to a vector. This is impossible. Nothing, it's not possible. Similarly, you cannot multiply a scalar to a vector. This is also not a valid operation, right? You can multiply a scalar to a vector, this is valid, and divide a vector by a scalar, this is valid, right? So these two are valid, these two are not valid. Similarly, vector can be added to a vector. Again, the condition is both must belong to the same physical quantity. You can subtract vector minus vector belonging to the same physical quantity, similar vectors. You can multiply vectors. This is also valid. But division of vector by vector, this is an invalid operation. You can never divide anything by a vector because vector has direction. Division of anything by direction is unpredictable. You cannot define it. It's undefined. So you cannot even perform division of scalar with vector. You can never divide anything by vector. So vector in the denominator is not a possible operation. This is not possible. So addition, subtraction, multiplication, all are possible. Even these two are not possible. These two are possible. So with the vectors, the only possible operations are multiplication of a scalar with a vector, division of vector by scalar, right? And multiplication of vector with a vector. Well, there are two methods here. And addition of vectors, subtraction of vectors. That's all. Beyond this, not possible. You cannot divide anything by vector. You cannot divide vector by vector or scalar by vector. So I have to perform addition. Addition of a vector a bar and a b, another vector b bar. Now how is this different from the scalar addition? Actually, let us understand what is the necessity of the another mathematical tool called vector algebra when we have already got algebra existing. Why in another algebra? So suppose if I consider, let's say there are two scalars a equal to 4, b equal to 3. Both are scalars. If I add them a plus b, right, the answer is 7. 4 plus 3, 7. Suppose if I have got a vector a bar of magnitude 4 and vector b bar of magnitude 3. Now I have to add a bar plus b bar. Then the answer is not 7 always. 7 may be possible, right? How? Suppose a bar, a bar is a vector has direction. So there is, imagine that there is a body. I am applying a force. Let's suppose the first force F1 is 4. I am applying force F1 4. There is another force F2 3 newtons. I am applying F2 3 newtons. Both are acting towards east in the same direction. Then you are pushing the body with 4 and 3 both in the same direction. The body will move faster with greater force. So the net force will increase. The net force will be 7. Possible. But had F2 been in the opposite direction, F2 is in opposite direction like this. F1 is acting towards east, F2 is acting towards west. Then 4 this side, 3 this side. Answer is not 7. You nowhere, by no means you get 7. 4 this side and 3 this side. Then out of this 4 and 3, 3 of this will get cancelled. The net is 1 in this direction. But it is the resultant of these both only. These both. So when you add vectors 4 and 3, the answer is not always 7. Under some condition, it may be 7. It is even 3 also. Suppose if I add these two perpendicularly, let's suppose F1 is 4 this side, but F2 is 3 this side. Like this. 4 is pushing in this direction, 3 pushing in this direction. Then out of these two forces, imagine there is a thread pulling in this direction, thread pulling in this direction. Let's suppose a body is pulled by, imagine a body is pulled by a force 4 here and pulled by a force 3 here by means of a thread like this. Then you see the body tending to go like this. So that way, the answer is not 7 there. Actually, you get this is 4 and this is 3. Applying Pythagoras theorem 3 and 4, the answer is 5. So when there are two vectors a bar and b bar of value, let us say 4 and 3, any value between 1 and 7 are possible. 4 plus 3 7, 4 minus 3 1. Between 1 and 3 anything is possible depending on the direction. So what it could be depends on the direction, the angle between the vectors. So to find out what is the resultant, you have to take the angle also into consideration. So I have been telling you since the starting of this, the direction plays a very important role in this vectors. So angle between the vectors matters. Suppose if a bar and b bar both are in same direction, A bar, B bar, same direction, then the answer is 7. If A bar and B bar are in opposite direction, the answer is 1. If A bar and B bar are perpendicular, we have found the answer is 5. So anything between 1 and 7. So it depends upon the angle. Minimum is 1, maximum is 7. So how to find out the resultant? How to find out this resultant? By taking the direction also consideration. How to find this? Now this is explained in addition of vectors. Now coming to addition of vectors. You know, addition of vectors, there are two ways of adding the vectors. Vectors can be added by two methods. One is graphical method, graph method, or diagram method. It is graphical method of adding the vectors, diagram method of adding the vectors. The second one is analytical method. Analytical method of adding the vectors. Now in this analytical method, again there are two methods. There is mathematical method. So one is graph method or diagram method, other is the analytical method. Now in this analytical method there are three ways. One is by vector notation, like mathematical, by resolution of vectors, by taking the rectangular components. Second one is cosine rule, by cosine rule, and third is by sine rule. So addition of vectors take place mainly by two methods. One is diagram method, that is graphical method. Second one is analytical method. Analytical method is by mathematics. Mathematical, you can do it by three methods again. First, splitting the vector into three rectangular components, adding them, perform the mathematical operation whatsoever that is there. Right? Splitting, first split the vector into components. Then perform whatever operation. Addition, if it is addition, plus add. If it is subtraction, subtract, multiply, whatsoever you can do it. Right? Now coming to the second one, it is cosine rule, cosine law. Right? This is cosine law or cosine rule. And the third one is sine law. This is law of cosines and this is law of sines. You can find the resultant by these many methods. First we shall talk about the graphical method, the diagram way of finding the resultant. Later we will go to the analytical method. So first method is graphical method. The diagram way of finding the resultant here. The diagram way of finding the resultant. So you know, before learning this, let us understand how I was telling you how we were picturizing the vector, how we were denoting the vector. So I have given you a vector can be represented by a line segment. You know, I was telling you on that day, suppose there is a vector, let's say force. A force vector of 250 Newton acting in the direction of northeast direction, suppose. So I was telling you a vector is represented by a line segment. The length of the line segment gives the magnitude and the arrowhead gives the direction. Right? Suppose if I imagine this is east direction, this is west direction, this is north direction and this is south direction. So force for 250. If it is 250 Newton, I need not draw a 250 centimeter line there. So what I do is I'll adopt a scale. You know, you might have learned in earlier classes while drawing the graph scale. Every 1 unit of the scale there, every 1 unit is so and so. So I am taking a convention, every 1 unit is 50 Newtons. Every 1 unit in my diagram there, right? In every 1 unit of the length is equal to 50. Well, unit can be millimeter, centimeter, whatsoever you want, you can take. Is it? So I am taking a scale, 1 unit, each unit is 50 Newtons. Then, so 250, I draw a 5 centimeter line. 3, 4 and okay, 5. So each unit is 50 centimeter. Let's suppose I am taking centimeter. So 1 centimeter of my line, my line segment represents 50 Newtons. So I have to represent 250. So it is 5 into 50, that is 250. So the length is 5 centimeter. And the direction, this is east and this is north. Northeast is exactly equally inclined to both. So 45 to this, 45 this is the direction. So this way I represent the vector by picture form. Same thing we are going to do it. Add one to another. Right? Add one to another. That's all. So the graphical method is just picturizing the vector by a length segment and just adding them. Right? How do you add them? How? This is possible. Consider two vectors A bar and B bar. Let's suppose there is a vector A bar here. A bar. Let's suppose I am taking force. A bar of force, let's say some 300 newtons. There is another force, B bar, of 400 newtons. Now imagine, suppose this is a board. If I am pushing this board like this with 300 newton, and somebody is pushing the board in this direction with 400 newton, simultaneously both are acting, then what would be the fate of this board? Now which way the board goes, in which way it goes, and at what force will it go? Now this can be explained by addition of vectors. Simultaneously, if there are two forces acting on a body, then how does the body respond, right? So same thing. So if this board is pushed by 300 like this, and someone is pushing this by 400 in this direction, here suppose he is applying at this point. Imagine, suppose he is applying at this point, and I am applying at this point, maybe. Then what happens to the board? How does the board respond? This can be explained. How? So I am now going by graphical method, diagram, pictorial method. So it's pictorial method or diagram method, picture form or diagram method of finding the energy. So what you do? How? So first of all, let us take down the scale. One more thing. Before going to this, let us understand, if there are two vectors A bar and B bar, I have to add them. Then first the condition is both must belong to the same physical quantity. If A is force, B must be force. I cannot add any two vectors. Any addition of any two vectors is not possible. You can add two vectors which possess same unit, same dimensional formula. They must be similar physical quantities. They must possess same unit. Right? Even subtraction also is same. I cannot add force to velocity. Force and velocity not possible. I can add force, one force to another force, one velocity to another velocity. Both must belong to the same physical quantity. Similar quantities, they must be similar vector quantities. First condition. So addition of vectors is explained for two similar quantities, please. Okay. So before going, how to go into this method? First, take down the scale. So I am picturizing the vectors. I represent a vector by a line segment. So one unit, let's say 1 centimeter of my line segment, well, I am speaking about force. Hence, I will take it as some 15 Newton. Need not be 50 always. You can take anything. You can even take it as 100 Newtons also. Let's take 100 Newton. 1 centimeter of my line segment, whatever line segment I am going to draw, each centimeter will represent 100 Newtons. Right? Now, represent these vectors. Which way? Now, suppose if this is the reference line, this is east. So, with respect to this vector is along the horizontal. So, draw a line segment horizontal like this, parallel to this, parallel to that vector. Now, which way? It is 300 Newton. I imagine each centimeter as 100 Newton. So, 300 means 3 centimeter. So, draw a 3 centimeter line. Let's say 1. Imagine, suppose that this is a 3 centimeter line. So this is first vector A bar. Let it be represented by two sides of a triangle, two sides, that is PQ. PQ. P is the initial point, Q is the final point, terminal point. This is the starting point, initial. This is terminal point. Now consider another vector B bar. So B bar is like this. Right, its magnitude is 400 Newton. Each centimeter I have taken it as 100, so 400 centimeters and 4 centimeter line. I have to represent the vector B bar by a 4 centimeter line. Which way? Parallel to this. Such that the terminal point of the first vector should connect the initial point of the second vector. Now how do you add? Just connect them. How do you connect? You connect the final point of the first vector to the initial point of the second vector. right? Join the terminal point of the first to the initial of the second. So this is B bar. It's a 4 centimeter line. Well, suppose if the first vector A bar is like this, PQ, this is 3 centimeter line, 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4 centimeter line like this, parallel to it. So what I am doing is, I am representing two vectors as two sides, two adjacent sides like this. I am representing two vectors in magnitude and in direction by two line segments connected by one another. Well, A initial point, this is the initial point and this is the final point. B, this is the initial point and this is the final point. So how do you connect? The final of the first should be connected. So if this is one vector, this is another vector, the terminal of the first is connected to the initial of the second. Right? Then, so this is the initial. Let's suppose this is along east, this is along northeast, maybe let's suppose it is 45 degrees. So according to that only I have taken the diagram also. Connect them, join them. Now what is the resultant? The resultant vector is the line joining the initial point to the final terminal point. The starting initial point and the final terminal point. Join the initial point to the final terminal point. The line joining the initial point to the final terminal point, this represents the resultant vector. So this way you can find the resultant. Now how resultant? Now if this is a vector, how do you find the magnitude of the vector and direction of the vector? Magnitude, find the length of this line segment. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. Right? It is some 6 units. So this was 3 units, this was 4 units. I have taken this as 3 units and this as 4 units. Right? Maybe I have got this as 6 units. You measure the length. Right? Each centimeter of whatever line segment I have taken is 100. Then whatever length you measure the length from PQR. Well, PQ, let us take it as PQ and O, okay. Or, okay, PQ and some T. Well, R has come here, so let's take it as T. So the resultant PT is the resultant. Measure this, the length of PT by a scale. So many units. Each unit is 100. Multiply that into 100, you will get the magnitude. Now how about the direction? Take a protractor, take the angle, this angle. So this gives the direction of the resultant. So this way you can find the resultant of two similar vectors. And this method is called as the triangle law of vectors. This is called triangle law of vectors. Right? So in first graphical method, first method, triangle law of vectors. What is triangle law? If two similar vectors, so the condition is they must belong to the same physical quantity, they must possess same unit. So if two similar vectors are represented as two sides of a triangle, in magnitude and direction. You see its length was 300, I took 3 centimeter line. This magnitude was 400, I took 4 centimeter line. So if two vectors are represented as two sides of a triangle, right, in magnitude and direction, taken in an order. What do you mean taken in an order? The final point of the first vector is linked, connected to the initial of the second. So I am going in an order, right? Left, initial, final, initial, final, initial, final, like that. I am going in an order. So if they are connected, if they are joined or represented by two sides of a triangle taken in an order, then the third side of the triangle taken in the reverse order. Well, I was going in this order, taking the reverse order. Now this represents the resultant vector in magnitude and direction. So if any two similar vectors please, two similar vectors are represented as two sides of a triangle in magnitude and direction. So magnitude respect to magnitude, respect to length, same, similar, direction also similar. Then if they are arranged in an order, taken in order, then the third side of the triangle taken in the reverse order represents the resultant vector. So this way you can find the magnitude, Measure the length of this resultant from here to there. Well, each centimeter I have taken it as 100 newtons. Whatever length you get, multiply 100, you will get the magnitude. Direction, take a protractor, you measure the angle. You will get the direction of the resultant vector. So this way, you can find the resultant of any two similar vectors. Two similar vectors acting at a point or acting on a body, right? The resultant of two similar vectors, then you can find the resultant like this. The first method is triangle law. So the statement is spelled out like this. The statement of the triangle law is like this. If two similar vectors, similar in the sense same unit, same physical quantity, two similar vectors are represented as two sides of a triangle in magnitude and direction. Corresponding to the magnitude, I take the length, same direction. So two similar vectors are represented as two sides of a triangle in magnitude and direction. Then the closing side of the triangle or the third side of the triangle taken in the reverse order represents the resultant vector in magnitude and direction. So this will be the resultant vector in magnitude and direction. So R bar is A bar plus B bar. This is the resultant of these two, right? So therefore R bar is A bar plus B bar, the resultant of two vectors. Now I was taking A bar as first vector and B bar as second vector. Now what will happen if I take B as first and A as second? Let's check the thing. So first represent B bar vector like this. Same, whatever direction it is in the same direction, length corresponding to its magnitude. You know its magnitude is 400 newtons. I have taken each centimeter of my line segment is equivalent to 100 newton. So 400. I draw a 4 centimeter line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So this is a 4 centimeter line B bar. Right? Yeah. First I have done A bar. I have added A bar to B bar. So first A, then to A I am adding B. Now what happens if I add B to A? If I take B first and A later. Adding A to B. So here I was adding B to A. So let's check what will happen if I add A to B. So first take B. So this is B bar. Then this is the initial point of B bar, final point of B bar. Then add A vector to this one. So A vector of 300 Newton. Now A vector like this. So this is of 400 Newtons. So I have taken 4 centimeter line. This is 300 Newtons, a 3 centimeter line. Parallel, the direction is parallel to it like this. So the final point of B is connected to the initial point of A. Now I am adding A to B. First I had to B, later I am adding A to it. So now two vectors are same law, apply same law. If two vectors are represented as two adjacent two sides of a triangle in magnitude and direction. Two similar vectors are represented as two sides of a triangle in magnitude and direction like this. Then the third side of the triangle in the opposite order. Well, I was taking B bar and A bar like this. So the order, this is initial, final. I was going in an order like this. But the resultant, the third side taken in the reverse order, the closing side, now this represents R bar. Please check here these two. Whether I add A to B, this is the resultant. Whether I add B to A, the resultant is same. So whether it is B to A, this B vector, I am adding A vector, then the resultant is C. You see both are similar. It's a parallel graph. These two sides are equal and parallel. So you will get the same resultant. So whether you add A bar to B bar or B bar to A bar, both are same. So vector addition obeys commutative law. This is the fundamental thing. For any quantity to be called as a vector, it has to obey the law of vector addition. This is the law. Law of commutation, commutative law. A bar plus B bar is B bar plus A bar. Whether I add A to B or B to A, the result must be same. So vectors obey the laws of commutation. Law of commutative law of addition, vector addition there, okay. So I am adding either A to B or B to A, the resultant is same. By graph method, this is by graph or by picture method, pictorial form of finding the resultant there. Graph method, picture method or diagram method, so that is a way of finding the thing. So if there are two similar vectors, then any two similar vectors you can add by triangle law. represent them by two sides of a triangle. So first vector, second vector, two sides, join the initial point, final point. Third side, the third side of the triangle represents the resultant vector in opposite direction. You have to take the opposite order. You know, these two were represented like this. I am taking not this order. Now I have to take the resultant, must be taken in the opposite. So that way you find the resultant of two vectors. This is addition of vectors. So by graphical method, the first law is called triangle law. Triangle law of two vectors. When two vectors are represented, so statement, if two similar vectors are represented as two adjacent, two sides of a triangle, in magnitude and direction, right? Then taken in order, in magnitude and direction, taken in order, you are taking in order, then the third side taken in the reverse order represents the resultant vector. The third side in the reverse order, represents the resultant vector in magnitude and direction. So this is the statement for the triangle law. So the method is, take any two similar vectors, two forces, two velocities, or two accelerations, two momentum, anything, right? So first represent them as two adjacent sides of a triangle like this, taken in order. This is A bar, this is B bar. The terminal point of A is connected to the initial point of B in magnitude and direction. Then the third side taken in the reverse order represents the resultant vector. This is called triangle law of vectors. So R bar is A bar plus B bar. The answer will be same whether you add B bar to A bar. Take B bar and A bar, suppose this is B bar, adding A bar to it, then the resultant is like this, both same. So they are the opposite sides of a parallelogram. In a parallelogram, opposite sides are parallel and equal. So these both are equal vectors. So that way you can find the resultant of two vectors. Then how if there are more than two vectors, 3 or 4 vectors, if the number of vectors are more, then the next method, well, graphical method only, diagram method only, if the number of vectors are more than 2, then how you are going to find the resultant? The resultant of number of vectors is carried out by polygon law of vectors, right? If there are more than 2 vectors, if the number of vectors are more, then you can find the resultant by polygon law. This is also again a graphical method, the diagram method of finding the resultant. Okay.